Ladies, listen closely. One of the most confusing parts of dating and relationships is figuring out where you stand in a man's life. You wonder, am I a priority or just a convenient option? You try to read between the lines, analyze his words, replay every conversation in your mind, but the truth is much simpler than we make it. When you're a priority to a man, you won't have to guess. Let me say that again. When a man truly values you, you won't need to question it because his actions will speak so loudly, you won't even hear your doubts anymore. The most beautiful sign that you are a priority to him is this. He is consistent and intentional with you. Consistency over confusion. That one truth can change the entire way you view your relationship or the man you're entertaining. You see, when a man truly values you, when he sees you as someone worth investing in, he doesn't leave you sitting in a state of emotional chaos. He brings consistency not because he's perfect, but because you're important to him. Confusion is a breeding ground for doubt, fear, and insecurity, and no man who genuinely wants to love you will ever want to be the cause of that. Let's be real. We live in a time where people are used to playing games. 1 minute he's all in, texting you good morning, calling at night, talking about the future. Then suddenly, silence. A few days go by, and just when you start to regain clarity, he comes back around like nothing happened. That's not consistency. That's confusion wrapped in charm. And far too many women are stuck in this cycle, wondering what they did wrong, blaming themselves, questioning their own worth, when the truth is it's not you, it's him. It's his inability to be intentional, his lack of clarity about what he wants, or worse, his willingness to keep you around even when he knows he doesn't see you as a priority. Consistency is about emotional safety. It's about showing up not just on the days when it's convenient or when he feels like it, but showing up even when life gets busy, when things get tough, when there's nothing to gain except your trust. A consistent man doesn't just appear when he wants your body or when he's lonely. He's there through it all. He communicates. He checks in. He makes sure you're okay, not because he has to, but because he genuinely cares. Confusion, on the other hand, is a red flag waving right in front of you. If you're constantly left wondering, what are we? Where is this going? Why did he disappear again? Then it's time to face the truth. This isn't love. This isn't pursuit. This isn't how a man treats a woman he values. When a man is inconsistent with you, it's a reflection of his priorities, not your value. Think about it when something truly matters to you. Don't you make the effort? You don't forget about it. You don't ignore it for days and then come back when it's convenient. You treat it with care. That's what a man does when he sees you as his priority. He makes sure you feel safe in the consistency of his presence, his words, and his actions. It's not about expensive gifts or big gestures either. Consistency shows up in the little things, the good morning text, the follow-up after a rough day, remembering important details, showing respect for your time and energy. It's found in the tone of his voice, when he speaks to you, in the way he makes you feel like a part of his world instead of just an option waiting on the sidelines. But confusion? Confusion is when one day you feel on top of the world and the next you feel invisible. It's the emotional roller coaster that keeps you anxious, checking your phone, reading between the lines, asking your friends for their opinions because deep down, you don't feel secure. And here's the truth. You shouldn't have to overthink love. You shouldn't need to decode his messages or analyze his behavior. When it's real, it will be consistent. When it's real, it won't feel like a guessing game. So many women stay stuck in situations where the man shows just enough effort to keep them holding on, but never enough to make them feel chosen. That's not consistency, that's manipulation. That's someone who wants the benefits of your presence without taking responsibility for your heart. And you deserve better than that. You deserve a man who doesn't make you beg for clarity, a man who doesn't send mixed signals or play hot and cold. You deserve someone who understands that emotional consistency is one of the highest forms of respect and love. Intentional actions speak louder than words. It's easy to say the right things, to make promises, to paint pictures of a beautiful future. Words are powerful, but they're also cheap when they're not backed up by action. A man can tell you he loves you, that he wants to be with you, that you're the one, but if his actions don't align with those words, then they're just noise. Real love, real interest, and real priority are always revealed in behavior. When a man is intentional with you, you don't have to wonder if he's serious. You don't have to beg for clarity or try to interpret mixed signals. Intentionality is clear. It moves with purpose. It says, I see you, I value you, and I'm choosing to make you part of my life. An intentional man makes plans, not excuses. He initiates. He follows through. He doesn't leave you feeling like you're doing all the emotional heavy lifting. And this doesn't mean everything has to be grand or overly romantic. Intentionality is found in the details. He remembers your likes and dislikes. He pays attention when you speak. He respects your boundaries. He doesn't just hear you, he listens. He doesn't just show up when he wants something. He shows up because he wants to build something. There's a difference between a man who is passing time and a man who is investing time. The former gives you temporary attention. The latter gives you consistent, intentional energy. There's a certain confidence that comes with knowing a man is being intentional about you. You don't have to walk on eggshells. You don't have to keep bringing up the same conversations, trying to define where you stand. When a man is intentional, he makes it known. He's not afraid to be honest about his feelings. He's not scared to talk about the future. He doesn't avoid emotional intimacy. He leans into it because he knows what he wants and he knows that it's you. On the flip side, when a man is not being intentional, everything feels like a guessing game. You feel like you're chasing moments instead of building a connection. You find yourself rationalizing his lack of effort, convincing yourself that he's just busy or not good with communication. But when someone truly wants to be in your life, they'll make sure you know it. They won't make you feel like a backup plan or an afterthought. They'll move with clarity. Intentionality also means he's mindful of your emotions. He doesn't play with your heart. He doesn't keep you in a situationship, giving you just enough to keep you around, but never enough to truly satisfy your emotional needs. An intentional man sets the tone. He shows up with direction, not confusion. He leads with purpose, not convenience. And this isn't about rushing into something. Being intentional doesn't mean he proposes after 2 weeks or declares your soulmates on the second date. It means he's moving forward with clarity and care. He's not entertaining other women while telling you you're special. He's not acting single in public and committed in private. He's not building with you while keeping the door open for someone else. It's in the way he involves you in his world. When a man is intentional, he integrates you into his life. You're not kept in the dark. You're not isolated from his friends or family. You're not a secret. He wants you to feel connected. He wants to build something meaningful, not just pass time until something better comes along. He's thinking long term, and he's not afraid to show it. You can always feel the difference between someone who's being intentional and someone who's being inconsistent. You feel grounded instead of anxious. You feel wanted instead of tolerated. You feel chosen instead of convenient. When he's intentional, the relationship doesn't feel like a question mark. It feels like an answer. There's alignment between his words and his actions. He tells you he cares, and then he backs it up with the effort to prove it. He tells you he sees a future, and then he invests in the present to create it. Words are beautiful, but without action, they lose their meaning. A man who's intentional with you doesn't just speak I've lives it. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. When something is truly aligned with your spirit, your heart, your purpose, it flows. That doesn't mean there's no effort involved, but it means the effort is mutual, balanced, and natural. You're not forcing conversations. You're not initiating every interaction. You're not begging for affection, attention, or clarity. You're not stuck in your head wondering what you did wrong or why you're not enough. Because what's meant for you will move towards you with peace, not pressure. Chasing happens when you feel like you're being pulled into a game of emotional tug of war. One day they're interested, the next they're distant. You overextend, you try harder, you adjust your energy, you compromise your standards all in the hopes that they'll choose you. But here's the truth. If you have to constantly chase someone, they don't truly value you. What you're chasing isn't love. It's validation. It's the hope that if you just do enough, give enough, prove enough, they'll finally see your worth. But your worth isn't something that needs to be proven. It's something that needs to be recognized. And the right person, the one who's meant for you, will see that without needing to be convinced. They'll be drawn to your light, your energy, your heart, and they'll respond with effort that mirrors yours. They won't sit back while you carry the relationship. They won't make you question their intentions. They won't disappear and reappear whenever they feel like it. They'll show up, and not just once, but consistently. There's a difference between pursuit and chase. A man who's pursuing you is moving with intention. He's consistent, respectful, and clear about what he wants. He's not trying to manipulate your emotions. He's not playing hard to get. He's not waiting to see how much you're willing to tolerate. He's stepping forward with maturity and vision. But a man who's making you chase him, he's enjoying the control. He's testing your limits. He's feeding his ego off your efforts while offering you just enough to keep your hopes alive. And let's be honest, it's exhausting. Emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. When you're chasing someone, you're operating from lack. You're giving out of fear instead of confidence. You're lowering your standards for someone who won't even meet you halfway. And deep down, you know it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel real. It feels like you're always waiting for the next text, the next call, the next sign that you matter to them. And that's not what love is supposed to feel like. When a man genuinely wants you, he'll make it known. You won't be left guessing. You won't be the one driving everything forward. He'll create space for the relationship to grow. He'll initiate. He'll communicate. He'll bring effort, energy, and consistency. You'll feel wanted, not tolerated. You'll feel chosen, not convenient. Because when it's meant for you, it aligns with peace. It aligns with purpose. It brings clarity, not confusion. You have to stop tying your value to someone else's willingness to choose you. The person who's meant for you won't make you feel like you're too much. They won't shy away from your love, your depth, your loyalty. They'll step into it. They'll rise to meet you. They'll be ready not just for a relationship, but for the kind of connection that requires real maturity, communication, and commitment. You won't have to water yourself down or overcompensate. You'll be able to stand in your truth fully and freely. Too often, women are conditioned to think they have to prove themselves to be worthy of love. But you were already worthy before you ever met him. Your love is not a reward for his indecision. Your time is not a consolation prize. Your energy is not an unlimited resource to be drained by someone who doesn't even know what he wants. What's meant for you will respect your boundaries. It will honor your heart. It will meet you at your level without needing to be begged or chased. The more you chase what's not meant for you, the more you delay what is. The longer you cling to someone who isn't showing up, the more you block the person who will. Holding on out of fear or hope will never bring you the love you deserve. Let go of the need to prove your worth. Let go of the pressure to perform. Let go of the idea that you have to chase love in order to keep it. The love that's meant for you will never ask you to exhaust yourself trying to earn it. Real love brings clarity, not chaos. When someone genuinely cares for you, when they truly love you, they don't leave you in a fog of confusion. You don't feel like you're constantly trying to solve a puzzle or decode hidden messages. Real love is open, direct, and secure. It's not built on guessing games, emotional roller coasters, or mixed signals. It's built on understanding, transparency, and mutual respect. Clarity doesn't always mean having all the answers from day one, but it does mean having honest conversations, shared intentions, and a consistent emotional connection that builds trust over time. So many people are stuck in chaotic situations and calling it love. But chaos is not a reflection of passion and is definitely not a sign that someone loves you deeply. If the relationship leaves you more drained than fulfilled, more anxious than secure, more confused than confident, then it's not love, it's emotional instability dressed up as romance. Real love calms your spirit. It doesn't constantly trigger your insecurities. It doesn't make you feel like you're on unstable ground. It doesn't have you second guessing your value or your place in someone's life. Chaos often shows up as inconsistency. One moment, you feel like you're the center of their world. The next, they're distant, unavailable, or completely disconnected. You're left wondering if you did something wrong or if they've lost interest. That's not how love is supposed to feel. Love, real love, is dependable. It's the steady presence that reassures you, not the unpredictable one that keeps you in fear. When a man loves you, he seeks to protect your heart, not play with it. He works to make sure you're emotionally safe, not emotionally confused. Clarity also looks like communication. When someone truly loves you, they talk to you. They don't hide their feelings, avoid important conversations, or make you feel like your needs are a burden. They want to hear you, understand you, and grow with you. And when things go wrong, and they will, at times, they want to resolve the issue, not escalate the drama. Chaos often thrives in silence and avoidance. Clarity is born in honesty and emotional maturity. Real love also creates alignment. You don't feel like you're forcing two completely different worlds together. You're building something together that makes sense for both of you. Even if you're different people with different backgrounds or personalities, the connection feels natural. It flows. You're not always arguing about core values or battling over commitment. When there is clarity, you both know where you're headed. There is a shared vision, a shared rhythm, a shared peace. Love in alignment feels like exhale, not tension. When love is real, it doesn't just show up in the highs, it reveals itself in the lows too. In how someone comforts you when you're hurting, in how they handle conflict, in how they make decisions with your best interest in mind. Chaos often reveals someone's emotional immaturity, the inability to hold space for someone else, to communicate respectfully, to remain consistent. But clarity shows up when someone loves with intention, when they're not just there for the good times, but committed to working through the hard ones too. The problem is, too many people have grown so used to dysfunction that they think chaos is normal. They believe that constant drama, emotional distance, or lack of communication is just part of modern relationships. But it's not. You were not created to survive off scraps of love. You were not made to beg for attention, affection, or clarity. Real love meets you with presence, not with problems, with peace, not with panic. It's also important to recognize that clarity isn't always about being told everything you want to hear. It's about being told the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's not what you expected. Someone who truly loves you will value honesty over false comfort. They won't lead you on. They won't give you false hope. They'll be upfront about what they want, how they feel, and where they stand. That kind of honesty may be rare, but is what real love demands. So if you're sitting in a space where love feels chaotic, where you're constantly unsure, where peace is the exception and not the norm, then it might be time to ask yourself what you're really holding on to. Because real love won't leave you confused. It won't make you feel like you're constantly trying to catch up or prove your worth. It brings a calm, it brings direction, it brings clarity because it's rooted in something real. He makes time, he doesn't find time. When a man truly values you and sees you as a priority in his life, his actions will reflect that. One of the clearest signs of this is how he handles his time when it comes to you. Life gets busy for everyone. Work, responsibilities, personal goals, and even unexpected challenges will always be a part of the picture. But even in the middle of all that, a man who genuinely wants to be present in your life will make time and know just when it's convenient, but even when it's not. There's a difference between someone who occasionally fits you into their schedule and someone who intentionally carves out space for you. A man who makes time isn't operating off of leftover energy. He's planning, prioritizing, and showing up. Not because he's trying to impress you, but because he sincerely wants to be connected to you. He sees your presence in his life as something meaningful, not just optional. He doesn't treat your time or your emotions like they're disposable. He honors them by showing up consistently. And this doesn't mean he has to be available every minute of every day. Making time isn't about constant communication or overwhelming attention. It's about showing consistent effort and presence. It's about returning calls when he says he will. It's about checking in even when he's tired. It's about making plans instead of offering last-minute invitations. A man who makes time understands that building something meaningful requires intention. It doesn't happen by accident, and it definitely doesn't survive off of neglect. Too often, women are told to be patient with inconsistency, to be understanding when he gets busy. But let's be honest, people make time for what they truly care about. If he can scroll on social media, hang out with his friends, work on his hobbies, and binge watch shows, he can absolutely make time to call you, see you, and nurture the connection. The real issue isn't his schedule, it's his priorities. When you're important to someone, they will never want you to feel like you're fighting for their attention. They'll want you to feel chosen. A man who makes time for you also makes you feel secure. You're not left wondering when you'll hear from him next or whether he still cares. You're not caught in the middle of mixed signals or forced to play games just to get a response. He's present, not just physically, but emotionally. He's not just showing up with words, she's showing up with presence, energy, and effort. That kind of consistency builds trust, and that trust becomes the foundation of something real. When a man only tries to find time, it usually means you're not a part of his core priorities. You're an afterthought, something he fits in when everything else is taken care of. You end up feeling like you're competing with his life instead of being embraced as part of it. And that dynamic is exhausting. It leaves you feeling undervalued, unseen, and unimportant. Love should never feel like you're begging to be acknowledged. You shouldn't have to fight to be included in someone's life. It's also important to recognize that making time is about more than just being around. It's about being present. A man could be physically there but emotionally checked out. A man could spend time with you but be distracted, distant, or disengaged. That's not quality time. That's proximity without intimacy. A man who makes time is present in the moment. He listens, he connects. He pays attention to how you feel, not just to what you say. He's not just existing next to you. He's experiencing life with you. When a man makes time, he also makes sacrifices. He's willing to adjust his plans. He's willing to rearrange things because he understands that relationships require effort and flexibility. He doesn't operate with a selfish mindset. He's not just doing what's easiest for him, he's doing what's meaningful for both of you. And that kind of love shows up in the day-to-day choices. It's not just in the big moments, it's in how he makes space for your needs, your dreams, your presence. You deserve someone who sees you as worth the effort, someone who's not too busy to show up, someone who doesn't just squeeze you in when it works for him. You deserve someone who plans for you, who thinks ahead, who values your time as much as his own. When a man truly wants to be in your life, he won't just talk about it, he'll show it in the hours he gives, in the way he listens, in the time he protects for you, because he knows that love doesn't grow where effort is absent. It grows where time is made, not found. He considers your feelings before making decisions. That right there is one of the most powerful signs that a man truly sees you, values you, and wants to build something real with you. Because when a man takes your emotions into account, it means he's emotionally present, emotionally responsible, and emotionally mature. He's not just thinking about what works best for him, he's thinking about how his choices affect you, your peace, your happiness, and your sense of security in the relationship. That kind of care isn't something you can fake. It's not something that comes out of convenience. It's something that comes from the heart. There are plenty of people who are willing to be in relationships but aren't willing to be emotionally accountable. They'll do what they want, when they want, and expect you to deal with the aftermath. They'll justify their actions by saying things like, it's not that big of a deal, or you're overreacting. And what that really means is they never pause long enough to ask themselves, how will this make her feel? Because when a man truly sees you as someone he wants to protect, not just physically, but emotionally, he moves differently. You'll notice the difference in the little things and in the big things, whether he's making plans with friends, taking on extra responsibilities at work, or navigating tough conversations with you. He stops to consider how his decisions affect the emotional climate of the relationship. He's not just doing what benefits him, he's doing what honors the connection. And honoring the connection means taking your heart into account. It means understanding that relationships thrive not just on love, but on emotional safety. This doesn't mean he'll be perfect. No one gets it right all the time, but the difference is he's trying, he's aware, he's intentional. He's not brushing off your feelings or making you feel like you're being too sensitive. He listens not just to respond, but to understand. He's not defensive when you express that something hurts you. He doesn't make you feel guilty for having emotions. Instead, he reflects on his part in the situation, owns it, and takes steps to do better. A man who considers your feelings also respects your boundaries. He doesn't push you into situations that make you uncomfortable. He doesn't make decisions that force you to compromise your self-worth. He doesn't choose temporary pleasure at the cost of your long-term peace. He's careful with your heart. He knows that love is more than saying the right words. It's about doing the right thing, especially when no one's watching. You also see it in the way he communicates. He doesn't just say what's easiest. He speaks with compassion. He's mindful of his tone, his timing, and his approach. He doesn't lash out when he's upset. He doesn't use your vulnerabilities against you. He speaks with a level of care that lets you know he's not just focused on winning an argument, he's focused on preserving the bond. And that doesn't mean avoiding hard conversations. It means approaching them with a mindset that values your feelings as much as his own. When a man considers your feelings, he also includes you in the decisions that matter. He doesn't just go off and make choices that affect your life without you. He sees you as a partner, not a spectator. Whether it's financial decisions, future plans, or even small day-to-day things, he checks in with you. Not because he needs your permission, but because he respects your input. He wants to walk with you, not ahead of you. There's a sense of safety that comes from being with someone who moves with emotional awareness. You don't feel like you have to constantly explain why something bothered you. You don't have to beg for consideration. You don't feel like your feelings are a burden. You feel seen. You feel heard. You feel valued. Because he's not just making decisions for himself, he's making decisions with you in mind. That's emotional maturity. That's love in action. And you deserve that. You deserve to be with someone who pauses and thinks, how will this affect her before he moves? Someone who wants to uplift your heart, not tear it down. Someone who understands that real intimacy is built in those moments when he chooses to protect your peace, even when it's not the easiest route. When a man values you, he values your emotional world too. He doesn't treat your heart like collateral damage. He treats it like sacred ground. He takes responsibility for his actions. One of the clearest signs of a man who truly values you is his willingness to be accountable. Accountability isn't just about saying I'm sorry when something goes wrong. It's about owning his mistakes, understanding the impact they have on you, and making a conscious effort to do better. A man who takes responsibility doesn't deflect blame, doesn't make excuses, and doesn't put the burden on you to fix things. He recognizes that a healthy relationship is built on mutual respect and trust, and part of that trust is knowing that both of you can stand up and own up to your actions, regardless of how uncomfortable it may be. When he takes responsibility for his actions, he shows you that he understands the power of his choices. He doesn't pretend like they don't have consequences. He doesn't act like his decisions don't affect you, your peace, or your sense of safety in the relationship. Instead, he takes a moment to reflect on how his actions impact you emotionally and mentally. If he made a mistake, he admits it without hesitation, without trying to minimize or justify it. He's not quick to blame the situation, circumstances, or anyone else. He knows that in a relationship, the actions of one person inevitably affect the other, and he's ready to own that responsibility. This kind of maturity is what separates someone who is truly ready for a committed relationship from someone who's still caught up in their own ego. The ego wants to protect itself, make excuses, and avoid discomfort. But a man who is ready to love and be loved fully doesn't let his pride stand in the way. He acknowledges when he falls short, not because he's weak, but because he understands that vulnerability is a sign of strength. It's a demonstration of emotional growth. He's not afraid to show you that he's human and that he too can make mistakes. But he's also willing to work on those mistakes. He's willing to make changes and take the necessary steps to show you that he's committed to growing alongside you. A man who takes responsibility also understands the importance of communication. When something goes wrong, he doesn't avoid the conversation. He doesn't pretend like everything is fine when it's not. He doesn't wait for you to confront him or demand an explanation. He steps up and talks openly about what happened. He listens to your feelings without getting defensive. He's willing to hear your perspective, even if it's hard to hear. And in doing so, he creates an environment of trust. He shows you that he respects you enough to be open and transparent about his actions. Taking responsibility also means that he doesn't repeat the same mistakes over and over again. When he genuinely cares about you, he doesn't want to hurt you. He doesn't want to see you disappointed or in pain. So he makes a real effort to learn from his past mistakes. If he said something that hurt you or done something that left you feeling undervalued, he works to ensure it doesn't happen again. He doesn't fall back into old habits because he understands that relationships thrive on consistency. Trust isn't built on empty apologies. It's built on consistent effort to change and grow. This sense of accountability also extends beyond just a relationship. A man who values you takes responsibility for his own life. He doesn't blame others for his problems or circumstances. He's in charge of his own growth. He recognizes that his choices are his own, and that includes how he shows up for you. He doesn't play the victim. He's proactive in handling his challenges and make sure they don't spill over into your relationship. He knows that you deserve a partner who is fully engaged in their own journey, someone who takes ownership of their life and actions, both inside and outside the relationship. A man who takes responsibility doesn't leave you to carry the emotional load of the relationship on your own. He understands that a partnership is about sharing responsibilities, emotional, mental, and physical. He's not going to let you shoulder all the hard conversations, the difficult moments, or the challenging decisions. He takes on his part and supports you through yours. He's not looking for someone to fix him or someone to make excuses for him. He's looking for a partner to share life with, someone who is as committed to the journey as he is. When a man takes responsibility, he's not just showing up for you. He's showing up for the relationship. He's demonstrating that he sees it as something worth fighting for. You know you're a priority to a man when his actions show he consistently makes space for you in his life. It's not just about grand gestures, but the way he includes you in his plans, values your time, and considers your feelings before making decisions. When he chooses to be present, even in small moments, it reveals that you're not an option. You're a part of his world. A man who prioritizes you won't leave you guessing because his effort speaks louder than his words.